Coming up in the program, we'll take a look at who finished on top at the season opener in Zhuhai. We'll take a spin around the iconic Fuji circuit in a Lamborghini and look at exciting new opportunities for series sponsor Dahu Group and its affiliated racing team. We'll see which other new outfits have joined the Asian Le Mans Series bandwagon this year, as well as check out the growing broadcast reach of the series. Plus, of course, we'll bring you extended highlights of the 4-hour race in Fuji. So sit back, hold tight, and join us for more thrilling Asian Le Mans Series action. Before we get into all the action from Fuji, let's take a quick look back at the opening race of the season in Zhuhai. 20,000 fans in southern China turned up to see an impressive 29-car grid for the 4 hours of Zhuhai season opener. Jackie Chan DC Racing took the first win of the 2016-17 season, with Ho Pin Tung and Gustavo Menezes also claiming victory in the LMP2 category, ahead of 2 entries from Algarve Pro Racing in a fierce battle that also saw the race performance team end their race on the very last lap, just minutes before the checkered flag. In LMP3, it was another victory for Jackie Chan DC Racing, as team boss David Cheng combined with Pu Junjin and James Winslow to secure maximum points, ahead of Tockwith Motorsports and Taiwan entrant G-Print by 111 Racing, who put in a strong performance throughout the race. In the GT category, pole sitter Spirit of Race took the category win with their Ferrari 488, finishing 5th overall. Clearwater Racing was just 1 second behind after 142 laps, with VS Racing in 3rd. Meanwhile, the sole car in the CN category, representing PS Racing, had to retire on the side of the track after just over an hour of racing. Overall though, the race was action-packed, with 10 lead changes in total and 4 safety car periods in the first hour alone, forcing teams to rethink their strategies on the fly with dramatic results. At one point in the race, the top 3 cars were from 3 different categories. The season certainly kicked off in style last month, leaving the drivers and teams ready to renew their rivalries in Japan. Located at the foot of the Great Mount Fuji, Fuji Speedway International Circuit is a world-class Grade 1 track, 16 turns in total, and a shade over 4.5 kilometres in length, nearly a third of which is the home straight, one of the longest straights in motorsport anywhere in the world. Formerly host to the Japanese F1 Grand Prix, it's become a regular stop for the World Endurance Championship. Only in its second year of competition, the Triple F racing team has quickly showed its worth in some of the most prestigious GT racing arenas in Europe and Asia. Before the race, we caught up with their team principal and lead driver to get their thoughts on the iconic Fuji Speedway racetrack.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea Calderelli. Welcome to Fuji Speedway, and I'm gonna bring you around the track with my Huracan GT3. Enjoy! So here we go in the main straight of Fuji Speedway. It's a very long straight. We arrive in 6th gear around 280 kilometers. We brake here under 50, first gear corner. It's really downhill. It's very tricky to find the apex. Down here we go up to 5th gear again, and we go to corner 3. Very high speed corner in 4th gear. Touch the inside curb. It's very, very difficult to get it right every lap. So that's why I like it. And here it's the most difficult corner of the track. It's called 100R, and it's, as you can see, I struggle a lot with the steering wheel. It's very difficult to bring speed. Here is the famous hairpin. It's going downhill, and here is going uphill again. It's a 3rd gear corner going up to the back straight. Here we arrive more or less at 260 with 5th gear, brake on the bridge, and it's gonna be the slowest part of the track. First gear, S corner, and here we start to go uphill with a nice Mount Fuji view in front of us. and uphill, and we downshift to third gear. And this is very blind corner, very difficult to keep it flat with the throttle, very tricky brake. And here, second again, we go out and we go for the last corner, which is gonna be a second gear corner, very, very long corner. And here also it's very difficult to get the apex correct. Here we arrive at the main straight again. It's really, really technical track at the end, very high speed track at the beginning. So when you make a good lap time like this one, it's really challenging, but you feel very good. Thank you for joining me on this lap in Fuji Speedway, and we cross finger for our race.
Before we get to the highlights of the race itself, let's take a quick look at how they qualified. In bright but fresh conditions, the field took to the track for qualifying, with Andrea Pizzatola claiming his second consecutive pole for the number 25 Algarve Pro Racing entry, with a time of 1 minute 32.646. The Italian had been battling traffic on the track for most of the session, but managed to nail a clean one on his very last lap to edge to the top of the timing charts. Joining Pizzatola on the front row of the grid was Gustavo Menezes in the number 35 Jackie Chan DC racing car, with Struan Moore outing the race performance team in third, ahead of Algarve Pro Racing's second LMP2 entry, the number 24 car, to cap off what had been an intriguing battle between the top four throughout the practice sessions and into qualifying. The LMP3 category had been equally competitive so far, and class pole went to the number 26 Tocqueville Motorsports Ligier, with Nigel Moore's lap time of 1 minute 36.054, just 6/100ths of a second ahead of Charlie Robertson in the number 67 PRT racing car. Current class points leader, the number 1 Jackie Chan DC racing entry, were third in class and 7th overall, with James Winslow setting the pace for his team. In the second qualifying session, held for the GT and GT Cup cars, Ferraris claimed the top 3 spots in an incredibly close session that saw the top 9 GT cars all within a second of each other. Alessandro Pierguidi bounced back from some bad luck in Zhuhai to go quickest in the number 37 team BBT Ferrari 488 GT3, with his lap time of 1 minute 37.083, good enough for 11th overall. He was followed by Mathieu Vaxier, who qualified the number 5 DH Racing Ferrari second in class, with Marco Ciocchi putting the number 38 Spirit of Race car in third. That meant there was no place in the top 3 for Team AAI's new number 91 BMW M6 GT3, replacing the McLaren 650 the team had raced with in Zhuhai, despite 91 being the fastest GT car in both free practice sessions. Meanwhile, in the GT Cup category, Shinyo Sano, racing on his home circuit, claimed class pole for the number 96 TKS Porsche entry. So, 27 cars safely qualified for the weekend's main event, but it was just a taste of what was ahead in the 4 hours of Fuji showpiece race.
Welcome to race day at the Fuji Speedway for round 2 of the Asia Le Mans Series. The land of the rising sun is also home to some of the most enthusiastic race fans who arrived at the circuit to get up close and personal with their Asia Le Mans Series race machines and drivers ahead of the 4-hour race. Here's a quick look at the start grid. LMP2 car number 25 Algarve Pro Racing is on pole once again and have round 1 winners number 35 for company on the first row. Tocqueville Motorsports took the LMP3 class pole and lines up 5th. Team BBT are the first of the GT entries in 10th, while series leader Spirit of Race starts 13th. LMP3 car number 69 starts 17th, while Team Audi Korea makes its debut with former Formula 1 driver Alex Yoong in 22nd. The Seoul GT Cup entry lines up 26th in the 27-car grid. Michael Moonman had control of the field from pole position in the number 25 Algarve Pro Racing car, but it was Ho Ping Tung in the number 35 Jackie Chan DC Racing car alongside him on the front row who made a better start, coming round the outside to take the lead into the first corner, with Giorgio Maggi bringing the number 8 Race Performance car through into second as the rest of the field jockeyed for position in the opening few corners. G-Print by 111 Racing had originally qualified 10th overall, but a steward's decision following a late driver switch meant the team had to start from the back of the grid, with Hong Kong youngster Sean Tong now powering his way through the field. Watch closely now from the back of the TKS Porsche 911 as the number 48 PS Racing Ades gets into trouble on the very first lap of the race, with the driver hitting the wall hard at turn 6. In fact, the team had gotten off to a slow start from the beginning of the weekend, but Luis Pret recovered to set a time of 1 minute 40.4 in qualifying, but driver Angelo Negro was behind the wheel from the start of the race, and the car was clearly in no position to continue as the safety car came out.
We assumed that the tyres were a little bit cold on the edge, and the driver went on the gas a little bit too early and just lost it there. Driver is okay. He went for medical center for just a double check and should be okay. No harm done for him.
The safety car was out for around 20 minutes while the debris was cleared from the track. But Ho Ping Tung maintained the lead for Jackie Chan DC Racing at the restart from Race Performance, PRT Racing and Tokwick Motorsports. A little further back, Michael Moonman had a couple of them in his sights as he was doing his best to recover from his slow start and make up some of the ground that he had lost. The veteran British driver having partnered with none other than Olympic cycling legend Sir Chris Hoy to compete at this year's 24-hour of Le Mans race. And he'll have to dig deep right here as he tries to recover positions at the Fuji Speedway. Meanwhile, car number 35, Ho Ping Tung, was beginning to pull away from Giorgio Maggi at the front, with PRT Racing's Charlie Robertson in third in the background in the black car, Michael Moonman in fourth, and Darren Burke in the yellow number 4 ARC Bratislava entry in fifth place. In the GT category, Belgian Stéphane Lemeray was behind the wheel from the start for the Hong Kong outfit DH Racing's number 5 car after qualifying second in class and starting from 12th position overall. Further back, Kei Cozzolino in the number 6 VS Racing Lamborghini Huracan was in a tremendous battle with the cars in front. The Japanese-born Italian drawing on his past experiences racing in Japan, including right here at Fuji, in a bid to come out on top. Nigel Moore in the number 26 Tokwick Motorsports Ligier had already made history in qualifying, with the team getting their first ever pole position at this circuit by topping the LMP3 category after a good battle with PRT Racing. And it was Moore who took the first stint for the race proper, maintaining his position of 5th overall, but still leading the LMP3 category. The glorious weather continued as Hiroko Yoshida in the Jackie Chan DC Racing LMP3 entry challenged the cars ahead, eventually getting the better of fellow Japanese driver Tetsuya Tanaka in KCMG's Audi R8 LMS GT3, though Tanaka would later come back. The number 3 and 5 Ferrari 488 sister entries of DH Racing were sticking together throughout the early part of the race, with the team's distinctive yellow stripe down the red body making them easy to pick out in the crowded field of cars. Split screen action here with Rino Mastronardi in the number 3 DH Racing car on your left and Kei Cozzolino in the number 6 VS Racing Lamborghini on the right. Just behind Mastronardi he is. There doesn't appear to be any contact, but Mastronardi takes spin and pauses for a breath before returning to action moments later. That's Hiroko Yoshida leading the midfield pack with just one of the red and yellow Ferraris now visible in the group behind him, as Mastronardi sets about regaining the ground he lost in that spin. Korean driver Tatsun Kim was piloting the number 24 Algarve Pro Racing car and, like Michael Moonman in the team's number 25 car, had also something of a slow start, falling back from 4th on the starting grid. But after battling with Philip Eng in Team AAI's number 91 BMW M6, he witnesses Hiroshi Hamaguchi from the Triple F Racing by ACM team lose grip in front of him. Aidan Reed was advancing his young career in the number 99 Win Eurasia Leisure GSP3, holding off Hiroko Yoshida's similar model as the pair battled for honours in the LMP3 category. Meanwhile, Firoz Fauzi in the number 86 OD Racing Best Leader team was looking to make up ground after receiving a 2-minute stop-and-go penalty for rejoining the track while the pit exit red light was on. But the bulk of the field were just getting on with executing their race strategies, especially after the lengthy stoppage at the start of the afternoon. Though Triple F Racing by ACM's Lamborghini had to make an unscheduled stop after that earlier spin.
We had the unfortunate contact with another competitor. We were taking into a sandwich of other cars. We got hit on the back and the toe link on the rear suspension has broken. So we had to repair that and get back on track. Hopefully we can regain with maybe safety cars and strategy, but I hope we keep on the pace and that we'll be able to finish the race.
In fact, according to team driver Hamaguchi, it was more of a handling issue that caused the spin rather than any contact from anywhere else. But either way, the team did manage to get the car back out on track, though a nearly 8-minute-long pit stop meant their race position took a significant hit. But the second safety car of the afternoon meant that the field bunched up once again.
So after the first 60 minutes of racing, the top 3 cars were separated by just 8 seconds. Jackie Chan, DC Racing's LMP2 entry, headed the field, after Ho Pin Tung had led from the start. But there were 2 cars from the LMP3 category immediately behind, with PRT Racing's Janetta in second, up from 6th position at the start, and Tockwith Motorsports Ligier in third, thanks to a strong first hour from lead driver Nigel Moore. Next was Race Performance, second in the LMP2 category and 4th overall after Giorgio Maggi's opening stint, followed by ARC Bratislava's number 4 LMP3 entry and G-Print by 111 Racing in the same category, with Algarve Pro Racing's number 24 LMP2 entry 3rd in class and 7th overall, at the head of a pack of 5 cars. Second in that pack and leading the GT category was OD Racing Best Leader team, with Team AAI's number 92 car and Clearwater Racing in a very close battle in the GT category. Meanwhile, in 19th place overall, up an impressive 8 positions from its starting position on the grid, was TKS's GT Cup entry. The newest partner in the Asian Le Mans Series family is Dahu Group, a conglomerate of business interests that includes both a sports and motor racing division. Let's take a look.
They decided to combine their involvement in the Asian Le Mans Series through DH Racing, which is one of the branch of their DH Sport branch within the group. And in that group, they have more than 20 different brands.
我们选择亚洲勒芒，主要是勒芒整个的一个运动，这个赛车运动应该说是有很多年的品牌的这样的一个历史，所以在赛车这个板块当中也是一个顶级的赛事，所以我们企业也希望通过和勒芒的这样的一个品牌互动，能够加深加强整个道和在赛车运动板块当中的一个品牌的一个拉伸。
As evidence of Dahu Group's commitment to the racing world, DH Racing is entering 2 Ferrari 488 GT3s in this season's Asian Le Mans Series. This partnership has been the culmination of months of hard work by Dahu, working closely with both the ACO and with Ferrari, and the whole team is excited about the opportunity as well as confident of success on the track. Significantly, signing such a partnership with a Chinese group in the year that the series returns to China demonstrates not only the potential of the series, but also opens up a host of possibilities for a Chinese brand to reach a wider audience in China, Asia, and beyond.
因为勒芒是一个非常知名的国际型的一个赛车的运动的一个品牌，所以我们选择勒芒，原因就在这里。
More Chinese companies and Chinese teams and drivers getting interested in what Asian Le Mans represents as a platform in Asia, for sports and marketing considerations, but also, of course, that opportunity for them to go to Le Mans if they are selected.
预祝亚洲勒芒在未来的时间当中越办越好，越办越成功。
I have an injury. I cannot working. I look his driving movie. I am very surprised. He is very fast. He is the same as everybody, so we can go to Le Mans together. Keep hoping to anything. I hope we will be the never give up to the for everyone and anything possible.
So the safety car had been brought out at the 1 hour mark after number 38, Spirit of Racers Ferrari 488 GT3, GT class winner back in Zhuhai, had stopped on track and had to be helped to safety. But the team was still hopeful of getting back out there.
Corner 16, the driver spun, not possible to restart with the car with electronic problem. I don't know now if it's possible to restart for the race or not. It's, I think, electronic problem after spun the car.
Unfortunately, the team wasn't able to rejoin the action and was forced to retire after completing 25 laps. But as the rest of the field got back to racing, Jackie Chan DC Racing's number 35 car was still leading the way, with young Frenchman Thomas Leroux, who had great success with the team last year, now behind the wheel. On board here with Hiroki Yoshida as he executes a nice move to get past Philippe Descombes in the OD Racing Best Leader Team McLaren 650 GT3. Meanwhile, Rino Mastronardi was continuing his comeback in the DH Racing number 3 Ferrari. This extended duel here between Thomas Leroux in the number 35 Jackie Chan by DC Racing Oreca and Italian Andrea Roda in the number 25 Algarve Pro Racing Ligier was among the best of the day. The Algarve team had lost a lap earlier in the race after pitting just before the safety car, and in their desperation to make up for lost time, made 2 penalty-incurring mistakes during pit stops. But when these 2 Eurasians were out on track together at Fuji, the battle was intense. Meanwhile, the Tockwick boys from North Yorkshire were making the most of their trip to Asia, with Phil Hansen getting into the category lead at one point before later handing over to Nigel Moore in second place. Fabian Schiller in the number 8 race performance took advantage of a mistake by Andrea Roda in the number 25 car as the sun continued to shine on Mount Fuji, marking one of the key passages of the race. After taking over from Giorgio Maggi in the number 8 Oreca, Schiller went after the lead on his series debut and moments later had also got past Thomas Leroux in the number 35 car, taking to the front of the field on lap 45. In the Frenchman's defense though, the number 35 car had been struggling with an electronics problem in the car from the very start of the race, which from around lap 20 caused a misfire that team principal Mark Goddard later said cost them 3 seconds a lap as well as extra fuel consumption. But despite the difficulties, the team remained competitive. Elsewhere, the blue and white number 51 KCMG Audi R8 LMS GT3, with Toru Tanaka now on board, was looking to build on his 6th place class finish last time out and was currently lying 5th in the GT category, 13th overall. Here we can see a variety of cars from different categories battling out on track, including LMP3 cars in the middle of GT racing cars trying to fight their way through the pack. Riding on board now with car number 3, DH Racing, recovering from that earlier spin, trying to fight his way through the pack and make up positions. Meanwhile, after winning category honors in Zhuhai, the number 1 Jackie Chan DC Racing car with Hiroki Yoshida replacing Fuji Jin in the driver lineup was struggling to replicate that form. In the GT class, Philippe Descombes continued to lead the way in the number 86 OD Racing Best Leader Team McLaren 650, a much improved performance from Zhuhai, where the team only managed 46 laps. The GT Cup entry from TKS had made it up to 19th overall from a 26th at the start, before losing some ground here, but driver Shigeto Nagashima pronounced himself very happy with the car's pace during his 49-lap middle stint. This section of the Fuji Speedway between turns 4 and 5, a high-speed sweeping bank, is proving quite a challenge for all the competitors. The colourful number 37 Team BBT Ferrari 488, seen here through the window of the number 5 DH racing car, was in the capable hands of David Rizzo, with the Italian driver having taken over from teammate Anthony Liu. The pair are regular teammates in the GT Asia Series, which of course recently furthered its partnership by awarding the winner of the 2016-2017 Asia Le Mans Series GT class a free entry into next year's GT Asia Series, while the winner of that series will receive a free entry into the 2017-2018 Asia Le Mans Series in the GT class. Slovakian Miro Konopka in the yellow number 4 ARC Bratislava Ginetta was doing his best to defend position from Andrea Roda in the number 25 Algarve Pro Racing Ligier. And while he did so valiantly for a while, the increased power of Roda's LMP2 car was too much for Konopka's LMP3 entry as the Italian went past. The number 26 Tokwick Motorsports car was still ticking along nicely, with driver Phil Hansen later acknowledging some of his rivals' technical issues, but still confident that his team would have come out on top even if everyone was at 100%. Riding on board DH Racing's Ferrari as he heads into the long Fuji Straight. The Team AAI car that had just passed across the screen was doing well and fortunately didn't suffer the fate of sister entry, the number 90 BMW M6 GT3, which didn't start the race after discovering a hole in the fuel tank just before heading to the grid. That deprived star driver Tom Blomqvist, son of Swedish World Rally Championship winner Stig and a DTM race winner at Oschersleben last year, from the opportunity to open his Asia Le Mans Series points account. Matt Griffin had taken over from Mok Weng Sun in the number 61 Clearwater Racing Ferrari 488, with the team third in the GT class at the 1 hour mark and looking for another podium finish after a second place finish in Zhuhai, remarkably just 1.1 seconds of the category win after 4 hours of all-out racing. Keep your eyes at the top of the screen here as Fabian Schiller in the number 8 Race Performance car runs wide on the turn before getting back on track. That mistake cost him a few seconds at least, but the German was quickly able to take back the position on track with this move round the outside of the number 3 DH Racing Ferrari. On board now with At De Jong, who had replaced Charlie Robertson behind the wheel of the number 67 PRT Racing Ginetta, with the Dutchman not quite able to match Robertson's earlier fireworks, but still in good shape for the race ahead.
At the halfway point of the race, the LMP2 cars, as expected, had risen to the top of the timings, with the number 35 Jackie Chan DC racing car still out in front, having opened up nearly a minute's gap on race performance, with Algarve Pro Racing's number 25 car a further lap behind, 28 seconds ahead of the team's sister entry. Tockwith Motorsports was leading the LMP3 category and was placed 5th overall. But G-Print by 111 Racing was less than 5 seconds behind. Still leading the GT category was OD Racing Best Leader Team, just a few seconds behind G-Print, while Jackie Chan DC Racing's number 1 car rounded out the top 3 in the LMP3 category, lying 8th overall. Further back, there was a 3-way battle for second place in the GT category, with Clearwater Racing, Team BBT and DH Racing's number 5 car all within a second and a half of each other, with the 3 Ferrari 488 GT3s lapping at similar pace. Meanwhile, the Porsche of the TKS team had fallen back to 22nd overall, but was still on course for top honours in the GT Cup category. More drivers than ever are competing in this year's Asian Le Mans Series, with flags from around the world being represented on the track. Let's take a look at some of those drivers, as well as the teams that have joined the series for the first time. New in the LMP3 category is Taiwan outfit G-Print by 111 Racing, who achieved a podium finish in their debut race in Zhuhai.
First year we joined Asian Le Mans is also the first year established. Now we are still learning, but it's better than previous race.
It's tough, but we are enjoy the teamwork and our result in Zhuhai. We hope to study and learn and also promote our title sponsor.
Marchi Lee, Ko Yu and former F1 driver Alex Yoong know each other well from the Audi R8 LMS Cup, and they're joining forces to race for Team Audi Korea in the Asian Le Mans Series.
So joining the series is always, we want to race in Asian Le Mans, especially Phoenix Racing Asia have been started this year. So we're always looking for the opportunity to race some long distance race and achieve 30 car on the grid. It's very competitive racing here, and I feel like it.
Italian-based VS Racing is another GT outfit joining the series this year. Managed by motorsport legend Vincenzo Sospiri, the team has a strong driver lineup that includes Japan's Kai Cozzolino.
Being double nationality, Italian and Japanese, I've raced both in Europe and in Japan. It's always been my childhood dream to go race in Le Mans 24 hours.
I did Le Mans in my career 2 years, and I would love to go back with my team in the future. The reason why we came here is for this purpose. Of course, it's the first championship that we participate, so we will try our best, and we will continue to get the entry for Le Mans. So it will happen this year, next year, and the year again. We will come back and try again.
Coming to Asia from all the way in Yorkshire, England, is the family-run Tockwith Motorsports. Simon Moore manages the team, and Nigel Moore spearheading the team's driving duo. The team even led for 9 laps of the season opener in Zhuhai, and will be strong contenders for a podium finish in LMP3.
We've got 2 drivers there that are pairing up quite well at the moment. We're quite happy. We want more time on them. If we get more time, we'll get results.
It's nice to come and visit some different circuits. No, it's really good. But it's not that bad. I mean, me and Nigel are both up to scratch with our fitness, so we should be looking good for the race.
That's just some of the new entries in this year's packed grid, ensuring that the competition is as fierce as ever.
As the race entered the second half, Italian driver Michel Rugolo had replaced Belgian Stéphane Lemeray in DH Racing's number 5 car, with the team demonstrating perfectly how endurance racing is about many things, not least strategy. The team had decided to stop at the end of the very first lap when the safety car appeared, which might have seemed strange to many. But both Lemeray and Rugolo described it as a perfect strategy, which they credited to the whole team's performance. Into the pit lane comes car number 86 for a scheduled pit stop. Out of the car comes Philippe Descombes, and let's hear from the driver after his stint.
Yeah, it was good. I struggled a little bit in the beginning. I didn't have the pace in the traffic, and I didn't want to put any damage on the car with the Ferraris and stuff, so I took it a little bit easy, and when I had a clear track, I really pushed the best I could. And I think we made a gap of 15 seconds or something, which is good. Now Jono is in the car, so let's see how it goes. We have 2 more stints to go.
Meanwhile, back on track, there was plenty of action between the different cars in the different categories, including number 4 ARC Bratislava, who put in a very strong performance. Car number 8 race performance with Fabian Schiller behind the wheel, stretching his lead at the front, overtaking car number 67 PRT Racing. It's been a really strong debut performance for car number 31 Team Audi Korea, while car number 25 and number 26 do battle out on track with the LMP2 machine, overtaking number 26 Tockwith Motorsports. Team Audi Korea have a very strong lineup with former Formula 1 driver Alex Yoong, Marchi Lee and Korean Ko Yu leading them around the Fuji Speedway. Massive competition in the GT categories with 4 Ferraris battling it out on track, all of them jostling for position. as we ride on board with car number 5, DH Racing, looking to make up ground and in the hunt for the win here at the Fuji Speedway. Thomas Laurent is in the number 35 car, pursuing the number 4 ARC Bratislava Ginetta, and was actually his first ever LMP2 race, having competed in the LMP3 category last year. Fabian Schiller continues to make his way through the field, this time passing the number 26 entry, Tokwick Motorsports. The fight for the GT class win certainly livened up after this spin between the Ferraris of number 3 DH Racing and number 61 Clearwater Racing, which cost both of them places.
Yeah, we had a contact early on just now which pushed our nose apart slightly, and the clips basically broke. So during the Zen stint just now, the front bonnet just flew right off, and we've got some spares, put it on, tape it up, and we're good to go again.
The number 85 G Print by 111 Racing LMP3 car was having a solid race, up to an incredible 6th position after starting at the very back of the grid, with Sean Tong back in the car for his second stint, having replaced Hans Lin. Meanwhile, the number 67 PRT Racing Ginetta had got off to a very strong start, with Charlie Robertson at the wheel, going up into 3rd overall on the first lap, which he led for the very first hour. But endurance racing is all about staying the course, and teammate at De Jong has a disaster here as he oversteers a corner and then has trouble restarting his engine as he decides whether to push forward or to reverse out of trouble. The yellow Ginetta at the back of this trio is the number 7 ARC Bratislava entry, with the Australian Neil Muston having handed off to his younger Latvian teammate Konstantinis Kalko, who's also had experience racing in the European Le Mans Series. On board here with Yuhi Sekiguchi in the number 6 VS Racing Lamborghini Huracan, following Gustavo Menezes in the blue number 35 Jackie Chan DC Racing Oreca. The American later described it as a very mentally exhausting race due to the technical issues that the car was suffering, but he added that the car's balance had been spot on and specifically credited his teammates, Hoping Tung for making a gap despite the issues, and Thomas Laurent for a fantastic job on his LMP2 debut. But Menezes was left with the final stint and had a long battle to the finish as problems started to deteriorate by the end. The number 61 Clearwater Racing car had earlier looked like it might challenge for the GT class win, but the minor collision with DH Racing would see them finish down in 7th place in the category, one behind series newcomer Team Audi Korea. No team orders between these two, as the Algarve Pro Racing cars were battling against each other lap after lap, with the number 24 just ahead. Another nice move here by the number 85 car, but elsewhere in the LMP3 category, the number 99 Win Eurasia car was having all sorts of problems and ended up in the pits for over an hour.
Yeah, we have a fuel pressure problem. We came in and changed the regulator quickly to see if that was the issue, and it wasn't. So now we've had to open up the fuel tank and get inside to look at the pumps. We should get it back out again within 15 minutes now. So we'll be able to run to the end of the race, hopefully. Yeah.
As the number 99 car rejoins the race down the order, further at the front, Fabian Schiller was still leading in the number 8 race performance car, putting in some decent lap times and managing to pull a gap. But he highlighted that he was lucky to drive what he termed the fun part of the race, whereas teammate Giorgio Maggi had a more challenging time behind the safety car when he was struggling to keep the front tires warm at the start of the race. We ride on board now with car number 6 VS Racing in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 as he makes his way round the Fuji Speedway. We now join Mathieu Vassivier in the number 5 DH Racing Ferrari, and though he is getting passed by the number 25 LMP2 car, the team nearly caught an LMP3 entry and put in a very solid performance overall, using a strategy the Frenchman said he was very happy with. There was plenty of overtaking action in Fuji as the race approached the final hour. Clearwater Racing's Kita Sawa muscles his way past Team AAI's Li Bin. The Chinese driver, having just lost one spot, is now lined up by James Winslow in car number 1. We ride on board with James as he makes his way past as Li Bin loses 2 spots in the space of a few corners. Meanwhile, Sean Tong in the number 85 G Print by 111 racing car continues to impress, as does Struan Moore, who's just taken over from Fabian Schuyler in the number 8 race performance.
A big turnaround in the standings after 3 of the 4 hours had been completed, as the top 6 cars were starting to spread out. Race performance was now in the lead from Jackie Chan DC Racing and the 2 cars from Algarve Pro Racing in 3rd and 4th. In the LMP3 category, 2 Ligiers led from a Ginetta, with G-Print by 111 Racing ahead of Tockwith Motorsports and Slovakian entry ARC Bratislav's number 4 car, who had moved up 2 places in the last hour to line 7th spot overall. But the biggest move had come in the GT category, with Team Audi Korea 23rd on the grid at the start of the race, now in the category lead, having been just 9th in class after an hour and 6th in the category at the halfway point. Both OD Racing Best Leader Team and Team BBT had slipped off the pace a little, leaving Clearwater Racing and DH Racing's number 5 car 2nd and 3rd in the GT category, with VS Racing 10 seconds further back and forth. Elsewhere, TKS was still leading the way in GT Cup, having slipped back 1 place in the past hour to 23rd place. It's not just the number of cars on the grid that's growing. The number of networks broadcasting the Asian Le Mans Series is also growing rapidly too. Following a very promising 2015-16 season, which attracted significant media attention, the 2016-17 season and its 30-car grid will definitely benefit from a greater and larger international coverage.
The benefits of televising the Asian Le Mans series are numerous, but of course the growth of the TV distribution list tells a lot about the appeal of the Asian Le Mans series. It's directly linked, of course, with the growth of the entry list, which is now around 30 cars, and we're expecting even more from January onwards for the last 2 rounds. More and more Chinese companies are considering Asian Le Mans as a very interesting platform for them to get visibility and exposure.
With the commitment of 14 broadcasters and webcasters, the Asian Le Mans Series 1-hour highlights programs will be shown in more than 100 countries in Asia, Europe, Middle East, Africa and America, thus offering a combined footprint of more than 400 million potential viewers.
The link with the Le Mans 24 Hours is obviously very important because it allows broadcasters to have consistency between their different programmings.
Leマンっていうレースは僕がレーシングドライバーになってから本当に憧れのレースで、1985年から、全部で97年まで出場しました。で全部で11回出て、92年に、2位になって、95年には優勝することができました。まあそういった意味では僕の結婚式をサプライズでやった思い出の場所でもあるので、僕にとってはもうル・マンっていうのは僕のレーシングドライバーとしてのもう全てと言ってもいいぐらい素晴らしい、レース、モータースポーツの聖地というかそういうイメージです。はい、ル・マンがなかったら僕レーシングドライバー関谷正則はいなかったと思います。アジアンル・マンシリーズがこれで、スタートしているわけですから、このアジアンル・マンシリーズが大きなもっともっと大きなレースになっていって、まあ、日本のドライバーたちもたくさんのドライバーが参加してくれるようになるともっともっと面白くなると思いますので、ぜひ、発展を祈ります。
Welcome back to the 4 hours of Fuji. Tockwith Motorsports' Nigel Moore continues to impress as he recovers from an earlier spin. Meanwhile, number 61 Clearwater Racing and car number 3 DH Racing continue their battle as we're into the final hour. Riding on board now with Mathieu Vassivière in the DH Racing number 5 Ferrari, chasing one of the ARC Bratislava Ginetta LMP3s. The Frenchman was the 2011 French Formula 4 champion, and in 2014 was also tagged as one of the drivers for the Lotus Formula 1 junior team, while competing in the Formula Renault 3.5 series alongside Filipino-Swiss driver Marlon Stockinger. It is also evidence from the fact that the LMP3 and GT classes were racing at a very similar pace here at Fuji, making it unclear not only who would come out on top in each category, but also how the different groups of cars would stack up against each other.
We did the first pit stop quite early, so when there was a safety car, we pitted. I went into the car and did a double stint. Everything was running well. At the, I think, third or fourth lap of my stint, I took the lead and could take a big gap. And it was running really, really well up until we did a pit stop. We just went for fuel and I went out again. But it wasn't as easy as it looked because suddenly I couldn't see something on the right-hand side. So it was really, really difficult. And for the last 10 laps, I started to open my visor and it got a little better, but not perfect. So yeah, but in the end, we're still in the lead and we did really good lap times. I think, I hope we can take it like home.
Another good battle between LMP3 and GT cars was going on in front of the GH Racing number 3 Ferrari, with Spaniard Alex Riberas in charge of the final stint. In fact, Riberas was representing one of more than the 25 different flags being flown by the teams and drivers in this truly international series. The 22-year-old from Barcelona is also pretty experienced, helping his team to a credible 11th place overall, 5th in the class. We ride on board now with car number 1 as they are passed by number 85 G-Prit by 111 Racing, who has had to start from the back of the grid and were at one stage leading the LMP3 class. Unfortunately, number 85 finished the race in the pits after losing a wheel on track in the final hour of this race. In the GT category, number 6 VS Racing Lamborghini had a strong race throughout, but were agonizingly caught by the number 91 Team AAI in the last few laps of the race, edging them out of a podium spot. And here's a good example of just how close the racing has been between the GT and the LMP3 category cars. As we go into the final corner here, the LMP3 race machine gets out ahead in front, but down the long Fuji straight, it is the GT category that has a little more edge over the LMP3 machine. While the number 8 race performance car would eventually go on to take the checkered flag, they had a back and forth fight with the number 33 Jackie Chan by DC Racing entry all afternoon, with each team leading the race on 3 separate occasions. But once Struan Moore retook the lead with an hour left on the clock, there was no looking back, giving Moore, Giorgio Maggi and Fabian Schuyler their first race win of the season, and the first for race performance since Nicholas Luttweiler and Shinji Nakano's consecutive victories at Fuji and Sepang last year. Pole sitter, the number 25 Algarve Pro Racing Ligier, still managed to finish 3rd overall despite receiving some penalties. Meanwhile, the GT class played host to close racing throughout, with several cars leading the way over the course of the race. However, it was DH Racing number 5 Ferrari that finished out in front and 5th overall. The BBT Ferrari came 2nd with a lineup highlighted by Alessandro Pierguidi, while Philip Eng took the number 91 BMW of Team AAI to 3rd. In the GT Cup, Shinyo Sano in the number 96 car would go on to take the checkered flag, with Sano later saying he had achieved his dream in his first appearance in this race. The second ARC Bratislava car, the number 7 Ginetta LMP3 car, ended up 4th in the category and 17th overall, thanks to the driving efforts of Neil Muston and Konstantinis Kalko. Meanwhile, Gustavo Menezes in the number 35 car took 2nd place on the overall podium. And the racing is certainly not over right until the checkered flag, as these cars prove. In the LMP3 category, both the Ginettas and the Ligiers led at various times, but it was the pole-sitting number 26 Ligier of Nigel Moore and Phil Hansen who took the win in the end. Struan Moore, seen here passing the number 1 car, was the man who took the overall win for number 8 race performance, modestly describing his own race as relatively straightforward and credited his teammates for setting up the win. But Moore was quick out there, posting the team's fastest lap time of the race. Coming round the penultimate corner, it is Struan Moore who takes the checkered flag for race performance after 138 laps and 4 hours of racing round the Fuji Speedway. Race Performance claimed their first win of the season ahead of number 35 Jackie Chan DC Racing. DH Racing win the GT class, finishing an impressive 5th ahead of LMP3 class winner Tocqueville Motorsport. ARC Bratislava number 4 finished 9th, with newcomers number 31 in 12th place, while car number 1 finished in 15th. 2 AAI cars see the finish line with number 92 in 19th, while TKS win the GT Cup class, finishing 22nd. Only 5 cars from a field of 27 didn't make the checkered flag, a remarkable feat after a grueling 4-hour race. After 2 rounds, Jackie Chan DC Racing leads the LMP2 Championship standings with 43 points. Tocqueville Motorsport's win in Fuji takes them to the top of the LMP3 standings. DH Racing take over at the top of the GT class standings with 37 points, as Spirit of Race fall to 3rd with 26 points. KCMG and DC Racing, car number 3, are tied on 10 points, while FFF Racing has half a point. PS Racing in the CN category has 1 point, followed by GT Cup entrant TKS with 26. A well-deserved win for Race Performance and an important one following their retirement in the first round. Let's now hear from the race winners.
Fantastic, the team did a great job. To be honest, it's credit to Giorgio for the start. He got in front when we needed to get in front. And then again, a really good sim from Fabian. And to be honest, I just nursed at home. The guys did a really good job before me, so it made my life a lot easier.
Incredible job getting a good balance of the car. It's a shame that we really had so many electrical issues between quali and into the race.
But in the end, it's a mechanical sport and it's part of the game. We'll try to come back in Thailand.
I did a mistake. I flat spot my right front tires after 3 laps in my first stint, so a lot of vibrations, difficult to brake late. I'm happy that we are on the podium anyway, so that's good.
And that concludes another exciting round of Asia Le Mans Series action. With 2 different winners from 2 races, the 2016-2017 season is shaping up to be quite a thriller. Be sure to join us for the next round in Buriram, Thailand. Until then, it's goodbye from the Fuji Speedway.